How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. China is playing ball now. They are exempting some U.S. goods, about $40 billion worth of U.S. goods from tariffs. They're also willing to address the fentanyl issues and concerns that the U.S. government has. We have the S&P 500 racing up, actually making a 20-year record, something that we haven't seen since 2004 today. We have Bitcoin racing up as well, almost to 98,000. And we have another trillion-dollar company, multi-trillion dollars in assets, getting into Bitcoin and crypto, trying to offer more products. Let's talk about all of this. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath so you know right when I post videos. Hit the like button too if you don't mind. If you like content like this, it helps me gauge what to post and what you guys want to hear. Also, if you want to trade crypto, there are links underneath the video to Blowfin, BitUniX, BTCC, WEEX, Blowfin. You can sign up in just a few minutes and you can start trading. I think now is a great time to be long the market, and if you want access to extra capital, you can go place long trades there. Of course, make sure you know what you're doing. Now, the U.S. Markets have been on fire recently. The S&P 500 is set to close positive for the 9th day in a row. Right now, it's about 1.5%. Who knows what happens in the last hour of trading, but right now it is looking very positive that the market has done so well. And if it closes green, this will be the first time since 2004 that we've gone 9 consecutive green days. Okay, that's crazy. That's one of the reasons why you buy when there's a lot of fear in the market. You know, I kept on coming out day after day saying, hey, I'm buying, I'm dollar cost averaging into this, and this. I bought a lot of the tech stocks very heavily in the S&P 500 while we dipped. And I would have bought Bitcoin too, but I already have a very heavy allocation towards Bitcoin. So I'm looking to diversify a little bit. But that's why you buy into the fear, because typically when we see quick drops like that, they do get eaten up fairly quickly. Like, people go risk off very fast, and you can pick up some very good deals because there are literally forced sellers. There are people that are getting liquidated that need to cover long positions, that need to sell out, that got too aggressive, that use margin, and because of that, you get really good deals. So the markets are on pace for another great day. Even Amazon, which was down 5% after earnings, after pretty good earnings in my mind, they are still up now today. We have Meta racing up another 5% after it was up 5% yesterday. Like, just in general, the markets are doing really well. Bitcoin's doing extremely well too. We're sitting at 97.5, and we continue to see more and more large companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, trying to buy Bitcoin. Right? We have companies like Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy announcing that they're going to buy tens of billions of dollars more Bitcoin. We have 21 Capital that still hasn't bought all their Bitcoin yet. At least I don't think they have. Maybe they're buying right now, and that's part of the reason that we're moving up. But we have all these companies buying Bitcoin, and it is scarce, right? If we go back to risk on, Bitcoin is going to fly, and that's the way that the market's headed right now. We are going more risk on because we're hearing talk of China playing ball, from exempting $40 billion worth of U.S. goods. Very positive there. And then they're also apparently willing to address the fentanyl issues and concerns from President Trump. So looks like they do want to chat. There's some news too about one of their like top officials coming over here to negotiate. Now, I don't know when that's going to be resolved, but the market loves that they're working on it, right? That things aren't escalating anymore. It seems like if anything happens from here, things are just going to get better, right? Lower tariffs, instead of this spiral of like another 100% on the goods that could cause companies' profitability to go down, inflation to go up, all that. The market also loves this because it prices in a better chance of Fed rate cuts. Why is that? Well, if there's less inflation concern, then the Fed can cut rates more aggressively, which means risk on assets are worth more because treasuries pay less. Right? This is great for the real estate market too. This rates coming down will make a lot of people a lot of money, but the market had extremely low rates for a long time, and you had people making stupid decisions, because when you buy a property, oftentimes people look at what the rate is when they buy a property, and it makes sense at 0% or 2% rates or whatever it is, but does not make sense when the Fed starts raising rates by 5%, and then you get refinanced. So we're just at an interesting time where there's more optimism. Keep in mind that things can turn, right? If we have a red day on Monday, that would not be surprising, because we've had so many green days in a row. I also think just generally things are still going to get better. There's still a lot of companies that had record quarters or record quarter Q1s where they were still growing by 10, 20, 50% from last year. Like from these companies' earnings reports, they are not super concerned from what I can tell. Like, the consumer is still strong. These companies are still spending and accelerating their AI purchases. The market seems to be in a fairly good place, and seeing us 9 days in a row going green, yeah, the market's going to turn to the point where people are starting to feel more bullish again. Now, what's that mean for you and me? Well, if people get too bullish, you probably want to sit on some cash, right? Right now, I still think we're undervalued. I think there are a lot of assets that are going to go up pretty aggressively, but you don't want to get drunk on the Kool-Aid, right? So while the market's rallying, great, I'm going to continue to dollar cost average. I'm not, putting extra amounts into investments right now like I was a month ago, where I was throwing a lot of money at the market. Whenever we saw dips, I was putting money into assets I thought were extremely undervalued. Now, a lot of things have jumped 10 to 20%, and I'm just dollar cost averaging, normal dollar cost averaging, storing up any extra cash I have. But I think we're in a fairly good place. Like I said, trade talks are zooming. We have, who was it? We had Charles Schwab and Morgan Stanley say that they're going to start offering more crypto products, that they were trying to focus more on Bitcoin. And we just got another top firm, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, and this is the joy of trying to film without looking at the content or the information. It was another multi-trillion-dollar, $3 trillion company that is trying to offer more crypto products, another giant banking institution. So more and more large banks are getting into crypto, and recently the Fed said that they did not have to produce disclosures when they want to make financial crypto products. They don't have to disclose the Fed ahead of time, so less friction. I think we're gonna have an awesome rest of the year for crypto, and maybe a good next year as well. I think a lot of stupid money has been flushed out of the market. The people that buy the top and then panic sell when we go down 20%, 25%, people that are much too aggressive with their positioning as well. And while, that hurts some people, it also flushes out some of the people that shouldn't be in the market because they can't handle volatility, and makes way for new buyers. All right, so I still think, like I said, we're going to have a really good rest of the year. And I could always be wrong. So, approach at your own risk. Do not put money in that you could lose, or that you can't afford to lose, right? So everything that I put into the market, it's not going to be something I need in the next 2 months or even 2 years, right? This is long-term capital. Of course, if we get overvalued, I'm going to take profits. But yeah, just make sure that you're being wise about it. Come at this market from a position of strength, not like you have a certain timeline that you need return or anything like that, because sometimes markets get pushed back. Sometimes it takes longer. Let me know your thoughts though underneath the video. Again, if you want to trade crypto, there are links underneath. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.